that what came out of the Gen Z protests was what we're seeing in government right now, where ODM donated leaders into the UDA government to sort of bring that inclusivity in leadership that was lacking at that period, so that the government could be guided on the best way possible to guide the country. And if you do remember, John Badi was appointed as the CS Treasury and came in at a time when the Gen Z protests went to the street purely because of the finance bill. It was looked as a fruit of the Gen Z protests, where they said, well, you see they've refused your finance bill. Can we get in experts who come in and sit on that docket so they guide you on the proper way possible for you to do a proper budget that they would not say no to? If you do remember, during that period, the president actually did not sign that finance bill into law, recanted it and said, I'm going to take it back. A couple of appointments that we did see getting scrapped off. Office of the First Lady came in and said, we're going to hold on that and many other issues that the Gen Z protests were raising. Good. Were those not proper fruits? For us to say, wait a minute, that gave us fruits, the Gen Z protests. But now, the consequences were the majority of people, or the youth who were participating in those protests, died and were abducted. For us to avoid that, let's go start hugging trees. It looks as if the government actually does listen to this kind of things, because Rufena Muthoni was listened to very well. Any other person who's looking at you this morning will say, but the government listens. The gentleman was hugging a tree because of lack of school fee. Some member of parliament came and paid the 50,000 shillings that the guy was looking for. Rufena Muthoni appointed as the ambassador to the 1 billion trees planting challenge in the country. Are those not proper benefits for us to say, it's not useless, guys? If all of us can go outside there and hug trees, maybe the government can listen.
I think, first of all, we have to appreciate the legitimacy behind Rufena's pursuits.
Yes.
Why didn't she go outside there and hug, say, a rock, or maybe a pole at a certain restaurant? It had to be a tree, because her bio indicates that she's an environmentalist. She's been engaged in environmental conservation for quite some time.
Does it matter?
Yeah.
I mean, Rotich, your bio could be a concerned Kenyan.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But you see, the consistency in the pursuits that she's undertaking gives her endeavors legitimacy to a very good extent.
Yes.
Because this is not something that she's doing for the first time. And also, she was even holding the record for 42 hours for tree hugging. So this was not the first time. She was even ratifying it, trying to extend it to 72 hours.
That's it.
The main challenge maybe would be for other people to join in. I saw even there's a chap who decided to enter a challenge of whistling for a couple of hours, trying to whistle for several hours. So I think if he had picked a certain specific day for the same, it would have been amazing instead of fitting in on Rufena's. So when we talk about the Gen Z protest and the fruits that came out of it, these particular acts of courage are not in futility. When we talk about, we are talking about Gen Z revolution till nearly 2 years later.
That's it.
Because of the impact that it had.
Yes.
To a very good extent, it showed that the youth can coalesce to pursue the same goal when it is necessary, to keep the government in check.
Yes.
Even for Rufena's, the issue of mental health and whatnot, some organization might not have come out, you know, to endorse or even to fundraise for mental health awareness creation or things within the same field, but we are having conversations about it. So that means at least it triggered a conversation that maybe to a very good extent in the end might yield fruits or even inform the public on the vices that exist in the society. So the Gen Z revolution had fruits. Were they maybe the fruits that we intended? Probably not. Were they as deep and substantial and sustainable the way we had hoped? Probably not. Maybe because to a very good extent we also followed a trend. You know, we had a good intention, but it picked so much so that it went ahead of us. The revolution was way bigger than even the individuals who ignited it.
Yes.
So to the extent that maybe it even deviated from the finance bill to other greater things. So greater things that maybe we were not even prepared to engage in conversations on how we intend those things to be undertaken, and also have serious structures to ensure that these particular calls for change are undertaken.
Yes.
This is true because I think the idea that maybe the Gen Zs did not need a leader. You know, we needed to be leaderless and partyless and such other things around that area. Such slogans were very careless, because to a very good extent, you cannot propagate political changes without adopting political structures.
That's it.
Including leadership and even parties.
Rakesh, I want you to hold your thoughts right there, because once we come back from this break, I'll be reading for you this comment right here from one of our watchers who's saying, I've got no problem with the Kenyan youth hugging trees. In fact, if all of us could go outside there today and do a 120-hour tree hugging challenge, the government would maybe listen. That way, it will be hard for them to come and shoot us, kill us, and tear gas us. If that is what it will take, maybe all the youth in the country should go find a tree today and hug a tree and ask the government to act today. I've got no problem. All of us are tree huggers. This is one Jamila Akinyi, who's watching us from Kisumu this morning. Once we come back, that's exactly what we shall be looking at. And maybe the question that I have for my panelists is, has the government kept quiet on the rest of the tree huggers in the country? Do you support the sentiments of Jamila, who's saying maybe all of us should go get a tree and hug? Maybe that way the government would listen. Once we come back right here on The Morning Drift, we are looking at this type of protests, tree hugging. Is this the way to go? Once we come back right here on The Morning Drift.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. They look familiar. Have we met before?
Oh.
No. We met in
Nobody is buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu, kwa bodaboda.
uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wase wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Come back to the morning drift. You are still watching a tree-hugging nation. That's the question that we're asking this morning. Should all of us go outside there, get a tree, hug it, so that we force the government to listen to us? Is that the route that majority of the youth in the country are taking? Just before we went on break, we were reading this comment by Jamila, who's saying, if that is what it's going to take, let every other youth outside there go get a tree, hug it, so the government can listen to them. Rotich, you were saying that that might not give us the fruits that we need as the youth of this country.
Yeah, I think, the challenge of a lot of courses that the youth in this country take are premised around trends. And the problem on relying on trends is that we lose the way. We tend to forget why we started it to begin with. Yes. We've been having people who have started serious revolutions, even from Tunisia in 2010. We had Ahmed Bouzazi, who decided to, of course, set himself on fire because the local administration, like the Kanjos of Tunisia, decided to frustrate him. He was a fruit vendor in the streets of Tunis. So he decided to set himself on fire. And that was the start of the revolutions in that region, from Tunisia to Libya and even to Egypt. So such acts of courage are not to be taken for granted. But to a very good extent, one, it has to be rooted in an ideology. What do we intend on achieving? Because the greatest revolution in history is the French Revolution. But the French Revolution ended up eating its own conveners, because in the end they started hanging themselves because they could not, they lost track of what they really wanted. They were advocating for affordable meals, availability of basic needs. But in the end, they started even crucifying or hanging, the people, or setting them on the guillotine, the people who even started the revolution. So protesting, social ills, protesting in pursuit of social change is very good, is very noble. But the same has to be rooted in a well-defined ideology. Yes. I say that because when we are not, it will be so trendy to the extent that people will start even having factions. For us, we are going towards about corruption. For me, it's because I don't have a house to live. If I'm given maybe a flat in the affordable housing scheme, I live and exit this particular protest. For us, maybe I just need something to eat with my family. If I get that, I'll be okay, because we are not certain of the ideology that maybe we are rooted in.
But and those all the collective issues that majority of Kenyans are facing, that if we all go out there and hug a tree because of all these issues, then we are forcing the government to act in that direction. But this morning, let me just bring you to this attention. There's an audit that has been done by the Ministry of Health, and they've realized that 11 billion in just 14 months since last year up to where we are right now, the amount of money that has been paid into SHA, 11 billion, has been lost. They can track it, they don't know where it is, and majority of the issues, even some of them here, under mental health. You can imagine if the government said, now for our counties, we're giving them 11 billion under SHA just to go in and deal with issues to do with mental health. So we are losing money to corrupt officials, but the same issues are the ones we're hugging trees for. Mental health falls rightly within the docket of health in this country. And by the way, you and I do know that mental health issues has not been identified as a problem under healthcare in this country. It's neither here nor there. Then can't you see that regardless of all the issues that we have, that hugging a tree to force the government to act in a proper way, to streamline the country, is one ideology, regardless of the many facets in this ideology?
Yeah, it's not entirely futile, but compared to seeing a good number of the youth lining themselves in voter registration stations to take a voter's card so that they can prepare to vote next year for the government that they desire, I'd prefer the latter. If we were seeing the youth genuinely supporting parties which are pro-youth, or parties like Inject Party by Morara Kebaso, instead of bashing him and deciding to maintain the status quo and buying into the narratives that the government are trying to sell in pursuit of trying to the separate, divide and rule the youth, compared to hugging trees, I think the latter would be a better course. Let's show up in the polling stations and take a voter's card. Let that be a movement. Let that be a revolution where we are seeing everyone. If you do not have a voter's card, probably will not even allow you to, board a matatu. If you don't have a voter's card, maybe I won't even reply to your hey on my WhatsApp. If you do not have a voter's card, maybe I will even block you from my contact list because you are not a patriotic citizen. If you were witnessing such sustainable, revolutionary, and impactful protesting, especially when we are heading towards 2027, then we will maintain, we will still have that particular government, we will still have the ills that we have, because we won't be in a position to exercise our sovereignty by delegating it to people who are well equipped to advance our interests.
Yes, pretty much. Let's keep on advancing this conversation. Now, we have a clip for you here yesterday of a lady in the constituency that one Ndini Nyoro comes from, who went out, hugged a tree, just to thank Ndini Nyoro for lowering the fee in his constituency, just 500 shillings a term. Let's take a look and come back and talk about it with Vivian. Right, that's how it went down. The chief came, said, I don't want this nonsense of hugging trees around here, to raise awareness about anything, took out the placards, took out a thank you message for Ndini Nyoro on that tree, and then told the lady, you need to go home, or else you'll face the law. Vivian, do you like the reaction of the chief? Since you're not in support of the tree hugging exercise across the country. I mean, I thought you'd be saying yes. Actually,
no, what the chief did was a bit not right.
Yes.
What he did, of course, the lady was sending a message, yes, but now I saw another comment, someone saying you should just go and hug Njoro for what? Instead of hugging a tree, that is the person who has done whatever you think he has done it best.
But it's very hard for you to get to Nyoro. Probably is in Nairobi.
That was my statement earlier. It is so hard to reach these people. If the doors were just open and free and they are in the office, we go and knock and find them.
Yeah.
And again, how many Kenyans will we be there?
But then why? I mean, the lady just expressing her rights according to the constitution, right of assembly. I can go stand anywhere in this country and do whatever it is that I want, as long as I'm not interfering with your right. My protest is well covered within the constitution.
Yeah, it is well covered, correct. But what about yourself? Then, what do you benefit from it? What are you trying to say?
Vivian, it doesn't matter. I'm the one who's going to benefit. I've decided that I'm going to say thank you to Ndini Nyoro for lowering fee in my constituency to 500 shillings. Probably I have 3 kids. That means that for the rest of this year, I'm just going to pay 4,500 shillings, and that's it. So if I decide to go outside there and sing a good song for Ndini Nyoro, and I hug a tree just to say thank you to him, just to maybe to get Ndini Nyoro's attention, that will be it.
Right now, social media accounts are so many. And what if she could just go live and try to say in words whatever she was doing in action in hugging a tree? the message was still, could have still reached Njoro.
But even this one, the message could have still gotten to Njoro. Like
now,
one of your constituents.
My thinking is,
yes,
if she could just go live and say whatever she wanted to say. Hugging a tree, at the moment, like the comment of our sister there, that
yes,
all of us should go and hug a tree. All of us. You know, when we are protesting, the government will only bow for something that is giving them pressure.
Yes.
They will bow. They will. If the president, Ruto himself, bowed to that pressure and refused to sign that finance bill, what will make us all Kenyans to go and hug a tree? All of us, to Toke, we are going to hug a tree. For hospital to get filled, to kose mahali pa kuingia in those hospitals. You know, in the street, at least we had well-wishers who were there to help the Gen Zs. They were there to provide ambulances to take us to the hospital. Person from the village, far end from the village, hugging a tree, who nobody knows that they are hugging a tree, or maybe because it is a national thing, all of us are hugging tree. What happens when they faint, or maybe something happens to them?
Yes.
How fast do they reach to the hospital for help? We are not doing this to die. Of course, nobody wants to die, the same as what happened to Gen Zs. Nobody was protesting to die. But we all saw what happened thereafter. If hugging a tree, just standing alone, anyway, people have strength and courage to stand for hours hugging trees, but health-wise, it is wrong. You are just putting yourself into another state that you will still go out and start asking for help for your treatment.
Yes.
The kidney, you have seen kidney failing. Treating kidney itself is so expensive. For even SHA money has just haiko, and nobody is trying to explain to us where that money has gone. If SHA itself is having a problem, and we only pay 500, I don't know if they have increased a bit. We are paying for it, but now it is not there.
Yes.
And you are going to hug a tree. Where are we going to find money to take us to the hospital and to treat us? Because actually, me, I'm just going for health, ourselves. Don't we love ourselves so much that we have to put ourselves at risk for the government who doesn't even care, for them to come and give solution to our problems?
Is that not what the definition of sacrifice is? That for somebody to listen to you, for you to fight for change in your country, nothing that doesn't come without you putting yourself at risk, that you have to really be at the forefront, even taking this risk of having kidney failures, so that you can have 100 youths from your community to be sponsored into TVETs just because they don't have school fee to go pay in this TVETs. Is that not what it takes, Vivian?
Of course, we have to sacrifice something to get something.
Which is comparable, and I'm sorry to cut you short, which is also comparable to the same streets protest that we saw in 2024 as from June. That once you're there, once you engage into running battles with the police, I mean, the consequences were there. We lost 60 lives. We had a lot of people getting injured, journalists getting shot.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing when you look at it. There are consequences in both protests.
It is not giving the government pressure. You know how the Gen Z, actually, I loved everything about the protest. I loved everything about it because that was the time the government could have faced the pressure and everything could have changed. If we wanted the better Kenya, that was the time we could have made the better Kenya. But something happened that made the Gen Z retrieve from the course. That we were so eager and so determined to make Kenya better. But iyo kuwana sana, it made us get afraid, like, let us get back. My brother here was saying that it was, he couldn't find better to say that we are leaderless. If our leader that we elected for them to defend us and to help us in the government, they are not doing what we want them to do or what they are expected to do. They are not doing that. We are not doing this because we have a leader here who is controlling us. We are doing it for ourselves. We are taking risk. We are going to die. Of course, we came out from the house knowing we are either going back home or we are going to die in the street. Yes. And we are so determined. Liwe liwalo, the government should change. And we were protesting against finance bill, which it was so good that the president himself didn't sign it. And it went to an extent where the good thing is the people, Kenyan people, they know every detail about all these leaders. And they're all paraded on social media. If you're not going, if anybody, any government official is supporting this government, we are coming for you. And that is what they did. And that made them scared. We are coming for your family, which was aired. We are coming for your businesses, which they did. We are coming for you when they went to the parliament. And all that, they made the government shrink. Like, the Gen Zs are serious. Let us do this. Let us try and mobilize this thing. Let us try and cool it. But now, hugging a tree. What is in fact, the president himself, he is seated maybe at the State House or wherever he could be, watching the news. Someone is hugging a tree. Of course, we are sending a message, but yeye haimsumbui. It is your decision. Umetaka kuhug mti, hug it. But if we are doing something that is going to give these people pressure, that you people, if you are not going to do this, we are going to do this. It is an exchange. And we are not going to negotiate here. We want better health system. We want better economic system. We want the things that actually we need. Food. People are dying because of hunger. People are dying because of things that the government has money to make things right, but they are not using that money well, apart from corruption, which my sister got ahead to hug a tree against corruption. Now, if all of us go to hug a tree, by the end of the day, what if nothing happens? How many lives have we lost? How many? Because if a child, now imagine my child, I'm a mother, my lastborn, who is 2 years, find me hugging a tree. Already she's tormented. She will not understand kwa nini mami ana hug mti. Yes. I have to explain, and she will still not understand. What if I die from that hugging a tree? The government does it. In fact, those people will not even, at least when we are protesting, some of them, like Babu Owino, came and helped us protest. They came in the streets, on the street, hugging a tree. Who is coming to help us?
Pretty much. Rotich, just quick sentiments then before we move into the next chapter of our conversation. Do you like the way that the chief handled the lady from Kiharu, who was hugging a tree to thank Dini Nyoro for lowering fee to just 500 shillings a term? And even as response to that, the next part of this conversation, and I want you to tackle it now, will also be, then what should youth protests in the country look like? We can't go to the streets and hold peaceful demonstrations because we saw exactly what happened in 2024. A lot of lives were lost to the point that other youth started calling out. The youth were in the street to come off the streets because the government turned for, as opposed to protecting those guys who were protesting outside there. So what should be the face of youth protests in this country? That's the second part of your question.
Masimba, once again, I think the local administration is taking note of the advisory by the Minister of Health.
That's it.
That the issue, the process of hugging a tree continuously for so many hours might be endangering, the lives of the protester.
Yes.
But again, we have to a very good extent, analyze that with some level of prejudice, because the government is known to issue such opinions, to try to contain people in the name of public order and public safety and such other things within that area.
Yes.
So I don't think it's too dangerous entirely. In its entirety, it's that dangerous to hug a tree.
And that communique was an advisory.
Yeah, it was an advisory.
From the Ministry of Health.
That people should take precautions. They should ensure that they should know that it's not really a walk in the park, that maybe, and people who have underlying medical conditions shouldn't consider it. Yeah. So I think the chief pretty much might not have been fascinated with the idea of hacking trees. I mean, sometimes some people might not, you know, appreciate the way people express themselves. I mean, we've been having people in these streets who write placards and say, I want Simba in my life, you know, and put their contact number and then decide to hoist it, you know, in the middle of Dedan Kimathi Street. To me, that might be logical and doesn't make sense. I might not find the reason why should you even do that. You can find him social media and text him privately. So some people might not appreciate, you know, the need to even hug a tree. I mean, some of us who come from the village, you know, even when we were kids, we would climb trees often. You know, so the process of climbing a tree is an horizontal, or is it vertical, or horizontal way of climbing it, of hugging it continuously and it's even tedious, it's not easy. So people like us who come from the village do not understand the phrase around hugging trees. I mean, we did that in pursuit of trying to find pasture for our animals. So when some people might even see it as a protest, but some of us might not see it as we are suffering enough, or you are even sacrificing enough. So I think the local administration should be a bit lenient on these people. The government should give people, you know, the space, of course, in pursuit of maintaining public safety, but also give them the space to exercise their right to, you know, express themselves. But these people also should know that they should not pursue trends while not taking consideration of their health. Yes. When it comes to your second question on how youth protests should look going forward, I don't think they should be entirely defined. I think if I want to raise awareness on culture of reading and decide to stand outside archives and decide to read for 10 hours, that's not entirely a bad thing. If I decide to go on a hunger strike, you know, and I feel like the sacrifice is worthwhile, because it is worthwhile. Yes. But if I have the courage and determination to do it, that's a good thing. But my advice to the young people currently, the sustainable way to protest and until maintain a democratic and a country like Kenya is to ensure we register as voters. We present ourselves to be voted in for our political positions, and more so register as voters. We are so many as young people. Yes. And the trend has been, you know, the statistics are there. We have not been voting. You know, a very small percentage of us are voting. We are not seeing young people, clips of young people, you know, in lines, you know, queuing to ensure that they register as voters. If we do not register as voters, I mean, we will not change so much. The easiest way to protest, first of all, is to register as voters. Yes. The second fundamental and major protest is in the ballot next year. We want to see young people, you know, vote for the ideologies they believe in. Vote for the people they believe are well suited, you know, to advance their interests. Yes. So register as voters and voting in the elections. That is the best way to protest. Compared to hugging a tree, we can, a few of us can represent us there, but a majority of us should actually take a voter's card. Or you take a voter's card and you decide to go continue hugging a tree. That's not a bad idea entirely. We can kill two birds with one stone.
That's it. So for you, it's through voting.
Yes, vote.
Go register, vote. That's the only way that you can protest as a youth in this country.
Yes, it's especially at this particular point. Yes. It is very timely, it is very sustainable, and at least we will be deciding our future for the next 5 years and even into the future.
That's it. Yes. Which will not be so, I mean, for every youth that is listening, because Rotich, if you look at the numbers that voted, it's a figure that has also puzzled me. Yeah. Where you're told that this country is made up of 70% youth. Yeah. We have 58 million people in this country. So you would imagine how many people are below the age of 35 years old. We have the biggest population, 70%. But if you go back to 2022 numbers, only 22 million Kenyans registered to vote. Now listen, out of, yes.
Sorry for cutting you short,
yes.
but maybe to put an emphasis on the issue of youth voting.
Yes.
You know, in any country that a revolution has yielded fruits, like in Senegal, right now they have Diomaye as the president and even Sonko as the prime minister.
Yeah.
The majority of the people who overhauled the status quo is the youth. It is the youth, not through protesting only. They had to seriously go into the streets and protest for these people to be released. When one of them was released, they voted for him against the government. That was not easy. Because, you know, you cannot, even if some people would say, you know, elections are stolen and what, and stories around that area, you cannot steal a gap of around 4 million votes. I mean, it's too evident. You know, in law we have something called res ipsa loquitur. Yes. Like it's too evident. It does not even need evidence. You know, it's too clearly on itself. So I think the best way, the numbers are too many, you know, to be inconsequential. Yeah. So the best way is for us to register as voters. I mean, don't entertain anyone who has not registered as a voter. Yes. If you have even a friend who has not registered as a voter, cut that person off because they are not well-meaning to this particular nation. Or even a romantic partner, you know, break that relationship because those are not well-meaning people.
Pretty much. You know, according to our teach, if you don't hug a tree, you don't have no vote. Pretty much that. As simple as that. If your girlfriend is not registered, please kill that relationship. All right, same question to you, Vivian. I mean, that's the version of protest that Rotich has given us. For you, would you take the same route? For you, what would be the best version of youth protests in this country? Because now, you said not to tree hugging, so what next for them if they want to protest?
We are going on the street. We are going to protest because taking voters' card and going to vote, we have done that. And in this country or wherever, power is never given. You take it. And most of our leaders are so thirsty for this leadership. And they're so greedy to grab every opportunity, everything, and all the money that has been kept for us Kenyans. So we are not, the tree hugging is just going to end here. It's just going to end soon. People are going to get tired. But we are going on the streets because my brother here said on the matter of
stealing votes. Of course, we cannot steal everything, but there is that one person who believes this is my position and nobody should take it. They will do everything that they can in their power to take that position.
Yes.
Will your vote have counted? We have voted genuinely. We want this person to be on our leader, but something just happened that we cannot even understand, and we cannot change it in that state.
Yes.
Our brother or our sister country here, they're in Uganda. We have seen what has happened. It is so bad that we go out, we are going to protest, we are going to cry out for help, we are going to cry out for a better change, a better government. Then someone that feels that he owns or they own the government, they own Kenya, just want to frustrate us Kenyans. My brother, even if today you are being given an opportunity to serve in that parliament or to serve in that leadership, wherever, you're not going to speak in the same way that let us go out and vote. Of course, we are going out, we are going to vote. But what are we going to vote for? Who are we going to vote? Are the people we are going to vote still going to take the leadership, or Kitambo, these things have been happening.
Yes.
We go out, we wake up so early, we go on the line, we get patient until we get to the ballot box. But what happens? If they can change from their system, from the IEBC, they change everything. They decide that we are going to have these things changed as the Kenyans want, as the youth wants. Maybe we'll negotiate from that. But now we are going to vote. But again, we will find ourselves in the street because nothing will have changed. Even you, I'm 100% sure, if you're given an opportunity to be an MP today, what will do to these Kenyans? They will still say you are going to one term, you are going to go. But because you want us to take like, let people do what they feel and think it is right for them to do.
Yes.
As long as it is beneficial to you as a person, do it. as long as you're not going to break the laws, do it, because everything that we do, they have consequences.
Yes.
And let us not find ourselves in a serious consequence that we will fail to take ourselves out from.
Yes.
Let us just be realistic enough. Hizi kura tunapiga, we cry out. Actually, if something just happens today and we see everybody in that government out, kila mtu atoke tu hapo, we decide and select new people, I'll be the first one to be on the ballot box. I'll be the first one to go to registration places and vote. But if we're still having the same people, it's like you're having a wound in your body, and that wound, you know, it is eating you up. But what you do, you are covering the wound. You are not treating it. You are going to die. It is going to eat you up. It is going to form another disease that it is going to be bigger for you to treat it. Let us deal with those people first. Watoke kwanza. Yani, like, no, we cannot go to vote.
But the best way we can deal with these people is by voting. But we have to take the voters card. How can we remove them otherwise? I mean, the best way, the easiest way to lose a country is by removing government through extrajudicial meaning, extra legal or extrajudicial even means. If we decide today to go to the streets and say the president and the entire cabinet and all the MPs should go home, how will we even decide to govern ourselves? How will we even decide who takes the position? No, I was in total disagreement with the idea of removing the president, not through the vote. Because, you know, sometimes we take the systems we have in Kenya for granted.
Yes.
We take it for granted because we do not appreciate the fact that after every 5 years you can vote in an election. Mm-hmm. You can remove your MCA, you can remove your MP, you can remove the governor. And even the president can be removed if people actually vote in an election. If we decide to remove the president today, then who becomes the president? How do we even, decide? We do not have a constitution because now that will be a constitutional crisis. Mm-hmm. We don't have a constitution to guide us because we did not even contemplate such a situation. So after he goes, what do? We leave it to the military to govern us. The military will not adhere to the constitution. Or do we decide that maybe Vivian is well suited to become, because we saw her in the front line of the every country that has removed their leaders extrajudicially has ended up regretting. Actually, the leaders who enter, through coups end up being worse than the leaders who even existed before. The only country probably maybe that made sense was Burkina Faso in 1983 under the leadership of Thomas Sankara. But immediately after Thomas Sankara was removed, Blaise Compaoré became president for around 35 years. And then he ruled very badly. It is easier when we know after every 5 years we can elect a president.
That's it. So we only have a minute left, so I'm just going to give you 15 seconds each to respond to some of the comments that have come to me this morning. I've got this one from Dorothy, who's saying the only way is to go to the streets with your vote. Yes. Do you agree?
Yes, very true.
Vivian, do you agree? Go to the streets with your vote.
Yeah. And then go and vote these people out. That's the only way we can have a country.
We need to be genuine enough to give us genuine results.
It's genuine. I mean, BBI was overhauled by the courts, even if it was supported by the president. Yes. Laila was defeated, even if he was supported by the president. Yes. So even the president himself doesn't have greater power than the people of Kenya.
That's it.
The people have a lot of power.
All right. Lee this morning was saying that lady who's been arrested by the chief should be, the chief was arrested, the lady, should be arrested. He is the one breaking the law, not the lady. Let the lady protest however she wants. Do you agree? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Do you agree, Vivian, as well?
Yes.
Pretty much. So the last comment that I have for you this morning is from Micah. Micah, good morning. Thank you very much for watching us this morning. Who's saying, a protest is a protest. A vote is a vote. Let's not teach differentiate. Let's go take our votes. Fine, but let's go protest as well. It is our right. Let's hug a tree. Let's go to the streets. Let's do any form of protest to get this rogue leadership out of power.
I even said if you are going to hug a tree with your voter's card, that is okay. I mean, that is very, I agree with what he's saying. I mean, Article 37 of the Constitution is very clear. If you are to protest by deciding not to eat anything, but you have a voter's card, at least we will have a plan A and plan B.
That's it.
We cannot hug a tree for 5 years.
That's it.
Yes.
Pretty much. Vivian, do you agree? Let's go to the street with our voter's cards. Let's
Yes,
hug
I
a tree
agree.
with our voter's cards.
Yes.
Pretty much. Whew, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming by. Talking about whether we are a tree-hugging nation. I mean, Rotich is pretty close to you. If we're going to take anything away from him, he said, well, go out, hug a tree with your voter's card. Go hungry with your voter's card. Let's protest having a plan A and a plan B. If we're going to take that home, then it is what it's going to be. So if you're planning to hug a tree, then at least kindly go hug a tree with your voter's card in hand as well. The future of protest in this country, our panelists have said, they're going to remain the same, but what is going to change is that we're going to take those voters' cards so that we have our voice in that different quarters as well. Take them back to the time that Agenda's online at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. The conversation goes on. The hashtag is The Morning Drift. My name is Simbalaja Charles Kiagi. I'll see you another day for another conversation. Good morning and goodbye.
We value your feedback and welcome your complaints about our programming and operations. Feel free to get in touch with us through 0700 893 542